All right. Hi, welcome to my channel. This is Christina, and I post content to uplift and encourage stay-at-home moms, and I also post faith content. So in today's video, I in real life, I need to put together a grocery list. It's after the holidays, and we have almost nothing. We have stuff, but it's just a bunch of random stuff. So I actually have to put together an actual, I'm making a mess. I have to put together an actual grocery list. And so I figured, why not just record myself making my grocery list, and maybe that will help somebody else get some ideas on how they can do it. This is how I used to do it. I used to literally sit down on my phone, on my notes, or with a piece of paper. Whatever came to my mind, I would just write down. And what ended up happening, as you could probably guess, is every time I went to the store, I would forget things a lot. Grocery shopping or building the grocery lists was not fun, because I was literally just relying on memory the whole time. It was like, okay, we need this. I think this. I think we'll have this. Oh, this. And it just didn't. I needed a better way. And I think that worked okay when I'm out of breath. I've been up and down the stairs with these kids. I think that worked well when it was just me and my husband, Alexis. I think it worked because we didn't have to get as much stuff. It was just us two. So it was easy just to sit down and say, okay, let's make a quick list and I'm gonna run to the store and get it done. But it's not as easy when you have kids. I have two little kids. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old. And so there's just a lot more that we have to get now. So now I have a little bit more of a system, and that's essentially what I want to share. So there's two main things that I feel like kind of revolutionized, if you will, my grocery list building / planning. And the first thing is, I now have a consistent set of steps that I follow every single time that I sit down to make a grocery list. That kind of helps me stay on track. It helps me be more organized. It helps me forget things less, more focused. I'm not as all over the place. So I know that I'm making sure I'm getting in every category that I need for the family. And so that's one thing, building a set of grocery planning steps that you can follow every single time you sit down to grocery shop or to put your grocery list together. And then the second thing is I put together these lists so I have a list of I was already kind of doing this, a list of all the meals, specifically dinner, that I make in a month. I just listed everything that I usually make. And I just keep that list. I keep it on my phone in my notes. And I also keep it just in this little notebook binder that I have. So it's written somewhere, and then I also have it in my notes. But that way, every single time I sit down to do my grocery list, I don't have to think. I don't have to sit and remember, what do I make for dinner? I don't have to rely on my memory to figure out what to make for the week. I just go to my list, and I literally, when I make something, I check it off. So that way I'm going through the list and I'm not making the same things over and over again. So I did that. I've been doing that for a while for dinner, but I think it's been harder to do that I was realizing that with snacks and breakfast and lunch, I was struggling a little bit with those too. So I said, well, why not do the same thing? So now I have a list of snacks for each person. So each person has a list of snacks, regular go-to snacks that I know they're actually going to want to eat. And so when I sit down and I put the snacks on the list for them, I have a list. I don't have to think. I don't have to remember what Skylar likes to eat for his snacks or what Journey likes to eat for her snacks. I already have a list right there, and it's just easier. I don't always stick to the list perfectly. Sometimes I'll veer off, and that's fine. But it just, again, it's more of a guide. It kind of really helps you. It takes away some of the guesswork. It takes away from some of the trying to rely on memory. And so those are the two things I've implemented to try to help me with building or making my grocery list. So I want to just take you guys along and to show you what that kind of looked like. Now, I usually do this on my phone. I love the note section on my iPhone. I use it for almost everything. So I make my grocery list on my note section or in my note section. I have the list of meal ideas, snack ideas, everything's in my notes, but I also have it written down in a binder. So today I'm actually going to use my binder and actually physically write out the grocery list. So let's get started because I can go on and on. So this is the little binder that I'm going to be using. Okay. So the first thing on my list, or the first step in my grocery making process, is I like to see what we already have. Well, I'm doing a horrible job with this. I like to see what we already have on hand. So I actually have, and I would recommend other people do this too. I just have a whiteboard, and I keep the whiteboard on, I know it's a little sloppy, but I keep the whiteboard on my refrigerator. And as we run out of things throughout the week, I try to remember to write it on that board. So I go there first, and I'll take my list. And then I'll just kind of start from there. So the second step on my list of steps is to check to see what we already have on hand. So I just kind of briefly go to the fridge, and I will not be showing everything in here. It's after the holiday. I keep looking at myself. It's after the holidays, so it's a little bit chaotic in here. So it's time to clean everything out. But I basically just do a quick look into the refrigerator and see what we got going on, see what we have, see what I need to use up. And that's usually my second step. So I'm gonna do that really quick. I know all of this stuff, most of this is all leftovers. So all this really needs to be a little bit of applesauce. Honestly, like all this is just leftovers. Tomatoes still, they're still in pretty good condition. Green pepper, onion, we'll go over into the cabinets. So we don't have, and then I'll just look over here briefly too. So I already kind of had an idea of what we had and needed, so that was really quick. But I'll just do a quick look and see what we got going on, and see if I can go ahead and build some meals based off of what we already have on hand. So the third step I like to do is I like to go to one of the grocery stores I like to shop at and see if they have any really good sales. Because if they have really good sales, I'll incorporate that into the plan. So I always just like to look, it's Kroger. So I shop at Aldi and Kroger. Lately it's been Aldi and Kroger. I get it Kroger. So I'm on the app, and then I look for, it looks different here, the weekly ad, so I can just kind of see, there it is. So I just like to see what they have on sale, because if they have really good sales, I'll get most of my stuff there. Okay. So for step 4, this is when I go ahead and just start to plan for the major meals for the week. And I usually plan for 3 to 4 major meals for the entire week, with the expectation that I'll have leftovers. So I always plan to try to have leftovers for the most part. So I know for this week, I have a 8-pound roll of ground beef in the freezer. So we're going to do tacos. And today's Sunday. With the leftover beef, I can either do spaghetti, which is always a win, or I can do some burgers. Oh, I need to go to my dinner list. So this is the list that I keep of all the different meals that I make, and it's still growing, as you can see. Still growing. The snacks for each of us, so I can keep on top of that. Lunch ideas. So I leave enough space so that yep. Lunch ideas for Skylar and Journey, notes, lunch ideas for me, the husband. So. And if there are meals, we'll just do. We have 2 sweet potatoes left, so I could do sweet potato chili. I'm gonna do sausage and onions. Because we have a whole pack of onions in there that I can use. So we'll do sausage, onions, and either potatoes or rice and veggies. Okay, so that's the 4 meals. Sorry. Okay, I'm almost done. Okay? Okay. So that's that. Okay, so now that I have put together my meal plan, I am going to go back to the grocery list and start listing out the items that I'll need for these meals. So. And there. Oh, you want to drink? Now that I have written down all of the ingredients I'm going to need for the main meals, I'm going to go to the next step, which is to write out what I need for breakfast. I probably should switch that, but that's just the order I have it in. So then I go for breakfast and I just start writing down the things I know we need. Eggs. Skylar, what are you doing? So I'm almost through. The last few steps that I have are listing out fruit for everybody, snacks per person, the toiletries we need, and I always like to try to get an emergency item, just to kind of build up my emergency stash. And so you can come up with your own list of steps, but the whole point is just to have steps in place so that when you go through and you're making your grocery list, you literally just have everything that you need laid out before you, whether on your phone, you can just pull it up easily, or laid out like I have here. Like I said, I got my recipe book here, which is just in a regular green notebook, nothing fancy. I've got a binder here with little zebras on it, and I keep all the things here for I showed you earlier, and everything's at your fingertips. If you can do the grocery list, build it in your kitchen, that's even better. But that's pretty much it. So you can have 5 steps, you can have 10 steps. It doesn't matter how many steps you have. Have as many steps as you need for your family. But have those steps and look at those steps every single time. You just sit down and I literally I check it off, I check it off, I check it off, I check it off. And that way I'm confident by the time I get done with that entire list of steps, I'm confident that I've gotten everything that I need put into that list. So when I go to the grocery store, I know I've covered it all. That is how I have been doing my grocery lists, making my grocery lists lately. I've been doing it for a couple months now, maybe longer. It's just made a huge difference. Like I said, it just keeps me more organized, and it's just because it's consistent, and because I have everything at my fingertips for the most part. I know that when I get done making the list, everything's been covered. When I go to the store, come back, I know that I have touched every category. And if I happen to miss something, sometimes that still happens, and that's okay. But for the most part, this kind of helps me make sure that things don't get overlooked. So that's how I do my grocery planning. So I hope you liked this video. I hope it was somewhat helpful. Please like and subscribe. I will put a link I have a blog post that kind of goes with this topic, and I go a little bit more into detail about it. So if you're interested in checking out the blog post, I'll put a link to that below. And that's pretty much it. So have a good rest of your day, and God bless.